Sometimes the most powerful stories on the internet, they don't come from some big shot studio or a famous influencer. Nope. Sometimes they come from a shaky camera, a really worried voice, and, well, a very, very big pig. Today, let's break down how this one simple video completely and kind of accidentally captured the heart of a whole nation.
And this right here, this is the message that kicked the whole thing off. No script, no fancy lighting, nothing like that. It was just a raw, emotional plea from a young woman who calls herself Dai Mei. I mean, it's such a simple, almost everyday kind of problem, right? But her anxiety was so real, you could feel it through the screen. And that's what made everyone stop scrolling and actually pay attention.
So, you've got to be asking, how in the world does a simple cry for help about a pig blow up into a national phenomenon? Well, it really all boils down to one crucial thing: authenticity.
Just think about it for a second. We spend our days scrolling through these perfectly curated feeds, right? Everything's scripted, everything looks perfect. Dai Mei's video was the complete opposite of that. It was messy, it was stressful, and that's exactly why it felt so shockingly, undeniably real.
Yeah, this really lays it all out. On one side, you've got the polished, perfect performance we expect to see online, and on the other, you've got what we actually got here. One of the articles that covered this called it awkward sincerity, and wow, that's just the perfect way to put it. That sincerity just sliced right through all the usual noise on the internet.
See, this wasn't a performance. It was a real moment of worry. And in that moment, people didn't just see a stranger with a problem. No way. They saw their own aging parents. They remembered their own hometowns, all the traditions, and yeah, even the anxieties that come with family life. All of a sudden, her problem felt personal to millions of people.
Okay, but this is where the story goes from interesting to absolutely incredible. What happened next was just remarkable, because the internet didn't just sit back and watch. It actually did something.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? In a place like the internet, which can be so full of negativity and ridicule, what happens when a cry for help is met with real action? Well, the response to her video was this just overwhelming, incredible wave of support.
And you can see how it all unfolded, like a relay race of kindness. First, it was just comments and suggestions online, people offering advice. But then people actually started showing up in person. Some folks traveled from really far away just to help hold down the pig, light the fire, clean up, you name it. And eventually it got so big that even the local authorities stepped in to help manage the crowds and offer support.
And right here, this is the big turning point. Because this wasn't just about one family's New Year's prep anymore. Not at all. It had completely ballooned into something so much bigger.
Get this, the local Cultural Tourism Bureau actually got involved. They officially turned this family's difficult chore into a full-blown, citywide folk festival. Think about that. A private moment of stress transformed practically overnight into this massive public celebration of community and tradition. It's just wild.
But okay, let's peel back the layers a bit, because this is where the story gets really fascinating. Why did so many people feel this pull to help? What was it about this one video that hit so many people so deeply?
Right? Were all these people really there just to help with a pig? Of course not. The answer is pretty obvious when you think about it. This had become about something much bigger than a pig.
And this quote from one of the articles, it just nails it. The people who showed up, they weren't only helping Dai Mei. In a way, they were trying to help themselves, to find a feeling, a memory of a time that maybe feels long gone.
Yeah, for a lot of the people who came, especially folks in that middle-aged group, this whole scene triggered this powerful sense of nostalgia. It took them back to their childhood, to a time when community wasn't just some idea you talk about, but something you lived. A time when your neighbor's problems were your problems, and helping each other out was just what you did.
But, like with any viral moment, it's not all sunshine and roses. The story doesn't just end on a perfect high note. All of this sudden attention brought a whole new set of complications. That massive flood of people, even though they meant well, brought some pretty practical problems with them. Suddenly, the family's home was a public space, and trying to manage all the logistics, the trash, the noise, and just the sheer number of people, that became a huge challenge.
There's this absolutely brilliant metaphor in one of the source articles that I just love. It perfectly captures that double-edged sword of going viral. This wild boar of attention, it unearthed a real treasure, this beautiful moment of human kindness,
But at the same time, it threatened to just trample the very ground that made the whole thing so special in the first place.
And really, this is the big question the whole thing leaves us chewing on. How do we jump into these beautiful, spontaneous moments without completely ruining them? How can we help without actually getting in the way?
So yeah, despite all the mess and the complications that came with it, this whole story reveals something really powerful about us. It shows that people are fundamentally hungry for connection, for things that are sincere, and for a chance to just do something good. That impulse to help was real. And that, right there, is an incredibly hopeful message.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. In our super connected digital world, what does community even mean anymore? Is it just the people who live on our street, or can it also be a million strangers on the internet, all coming together for one brief moment to help someone with a pig? You know, this story kind of suggests that might just be both.